So thanks for having me. I'm sorry I missed dinner. I still do some consulting for the Pentagon. So it was a 4:30 a.m. start, dark early, and then just got out of there at 6. So I apologize. You guys know Northern Virginia traffic trying to get here. So thanks for having me. When I was coming over here, I was wondering, why my name is Denver Riggleman, by the way. When I was coming over here earlier, I was wondering something pretty profound, I think, is why am I running for governor? And the other night when I was in Spotsylvania County, there was about 15 or 20 people there, and I asked them this question. I said not to answer it. I'm like, why are you here? And I guess I'm asking all that. Don't answer, please. But why are you here tonight? And if you think about it, is there a one-word answer for why you're here? Is it family? Is it the fact that you are liberty-minded? Is it the fact that you believe in the Constitution? Or is it that you want change? Why are you here tonight? And I'm going to talk about why I'm here tonight. And I think it's going to apply to everybody here, and why I think we're looking at a revolution in politics right now. I was born in 1970 in Manassas, Virginia, so not too far up the road here. 1989, at the age of 19, I got married. Very young. By 1992, after 3 years of doing a bunch of nothing, doing some powerlifting and playing some college football, my wife got pregnant somehow. So we figured, that we had to do something about it. So after a long decision process of 24 hours, because I needed health care, I joined the United States Air Force. I enlisted in the Air Force, and for 3 years I turned wrenches on C-141 jets. Now, nobody in my family had ever gone to college, so I'll tell you guys the truth. When I enlisted in the Air Force, I had started community college, and I had a sterling GPA. I know a lot of you have gone to college, and you know what a good GPA is. I had a 1.1 GPA when I enlisted in the United States Air Force. I passed. So in 1996, in 1992, when I decided I needed to go to college. So for 4 years, not only did I work full-time on the flight line, I worked as a bouncer, worked as a professional mover, and went to school full-time at night. By the time, 1995, I had a 3.83 GPA. I was in the National Junior Honor Society. A lot of you guys are like, Deborah, what was the change? What was the change from a 1.1 GPA to a 3.83 GPA? And you probably know it's responsibility. It's the fact that I had a wife and a kid and another one on the way, and I had to do something. I had to do something right. It's responsibility. So I had this 3.83 GPA, and they're like, Denver, you seem to be barely smart enough to go to college. Why don't you put in for this scholarship? So I did, and I got into 2 schools, or 3 schools. I got into UVA, and by the way, I know this is hard to believe, I got on the waiting list to Princeton. So I got accepted to UVA, and I'll let you know this, my dad was an electrician at UVA. He actually changed light bulbs, did wiring, and when I was 12 years old, I would go from Manassas to Charlottesville. My dad would take me up and down the elevator. My dad and my grandfather were boxers. So what they would do is he would ring the emergency bell, and he would stop the elevator, and he'd just beat the heck out of me in the... No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. But he did teach me to box in those elevators. And he would use the emergency bell as the bell, and he would teach me to box. So, but he always would tell me, he said, hey, Denny, because my dad is Denver too, and my grandfather is Denver. He said, Denny, he said, don't work here, go to school here. So when I was 26 years old, I got into the University of Virginia. After 2 years, I graduated #1 in my class out of ROTC, and I became a United States Air Force Intelligence Officer at 28. 8 months later, since my degree was in Foreign Affairs, Eastern Europe, former Yugoslavia, I got sent to the Romanian-Serbian border. There at Operation Allied Force, I tracked bad actors, bad people, going into other countries. After that, they sent me back to Mountain Home Air Force Base, Idaho, and then they sent me to Oman. And there I worked in the desert. I trained the Omanis on F-16 operations and B-1 operations, because I was a B-1 intelligence officer, which is a B-1 bomber, if anybody knows what that is. It bombs stuff, lots of stuff. By that time, things had been going pretty well. I was trained up, and then something really bad happened on 9/11. That's when the towers went down, and 10 days later, I was sent to Diego Garcia to mission plan the first bombing runs in Afghanistan. After that, I spent some time there and back to Oman. I came back and went into NSA Special Projects. So NSA Special Projects, I did a couple things. Counter ID, I went up to roadside bomb makers, and also did anti-hostage operations in South America. After that, I said, you know what? I'm not too bad at this stuff. I'm going to start my own company. So from 2007 to 2012, in 5 years, I started a company and sold it for a lot of money. Did okay. By the time I got out, we were doing about $3 to $4 million a year. But for 3 years as a subsidiary CEO, we raised our company to $17.3 million a year. And at that point, in 2015 in December, I said I had had enough. I was no longer going to do DOD. I was out of politics or government. And I was never going back into the government again for any reason ever in the history of mankind. Ever. During that time, after I sold my company in 2012 and 2013, and I don't know if you guys know this, but I do make whiskey. But I don't make it as good as my wife. She's actually the master distiller and CEO of Silverback Distillery in Afton. So when I sold my company in 2012, my wife had been following me around the world for 25 years. And I told her, it's your turn, and I'm going to follow you, and I'm not going to do anything to take away from what you're doing. By the way, I'm running for governor. I lied to her. But anyway, I said, there's nothing I'm going to do to take away from what you're doing. So she's an incredible lady. So we sent her to distillery school. She learned how to distill. And now she's one of the top 13 distillers in the world for gin, 11 international awards. And we built a manufacturing plant from scratch on our own, without an engineer, on 50 acres in Nelson County, Virginia and Afton. Thank you. Because our dream was to have, I know this is funny, some of your dream maybe is to bungee jump out of blimps, maybe it's to fly an airplane. Ours was to start a distillery. If you have more questions about that afterwards, I'm happy to answer them. So why am I here? Why would I be here after a career that I've had, starting and selling a company, owning a distillery, still consulting for OSD on cyber warfare and counterterrorism? Why in the heck would I run? And everybody here working tonight, why are you here listening to me? Why in the heck are you here on the night where you have, maybe some of you have kids, kids that got to go to school tomorrow, you got to go to work, you got taxes to pay, all the things that you're worried about, and you're here listening to me, who's running for governor? It's because you think this is important. And if we talk about an evolution of a revolution, this is what's happening here. And this is why you are here. It's because you care. And I'm running because I care. I've never run for office before, but I'm running because I care. I'm running because I had Dominion Power come into my property and threaten me with eminent domain. I'm angry after our dream that I had somebody come on our property and tell me that I needed to learn how to play the game, that Dominion owned this state. That's a quote. That is a quote. I came home after being gone for 20 years, fighting for my country, starting businesses, traveling around the world. I started a distillery, and then I'm told that I'm owned in my own state. I fought beer and wine lobbies who said that they want to keep taxation unfair for me because it helps that they have the protectionist policies of Virginia behind them. And they had 24 of the richest families that would fight me if I tried to run for governor. I was told behind closed doors when I tried to lobby for myself that I was collateral damage. And if anybody knows what collateral damage is, I know what it is. Because I had to stop us from having collateral damage when I was overseas. Collateral damage is a bad thing. I have people come on my property because I have a ditch on my 50 acres and tell me I have to pay tens of thousands of dollars for phosphorus runoff on a metal roof on a barn building. I've had people say that my downward facing lights were 45 degrees and not 90 degrees, so they can't be downward facing. By the way, if anybody's in geometry, 45 degrees down is downward facing, right? Why am I running? Why are you here? It's because of personal property taxes, car taxes, schools. Is the fact my business pays so many taxes, business personal property taxes, personal property taxes, right? Liquor taxes. I pay 54% tax on each bottle of liquor to the state. You pay 5.3% on that bottle, and then I pay another 3% federal tax. 60% of every bottle of booze that you buy is taxed by the state or the federal government, or as a markup fee to the ABC. Now you might say, Denver, that's just booze. Well, think about everything in your life. Think about, my gosh, self-employment taxes. Think about the fact that my curb was 1 inch too high and I had to rip it out for a $100,000 curb in a commercial entrance. Who here started a company and you know that what's happening to you is wrong? It's wrong. It's wrong. How many people here, when your kids go to school, you're worried about it and you're sick of the public education system? How many people here are tired of fighting those same battles every day? I'm here because it's personal. A lot of people say, Denver, you shouldn't be running because it's personal. Are you kidding me? I would think the Boston Tea Party was pretty personal. And if you look at anybody that runs for politics, something personal got them into it. Now that personal could be something that does not affect any of us. That personal could be, that's what they want to do. They wanted to be a politician since they were a kid. I don't know about you guys, when I was 6 years old and they asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, it was not politician. I think I said athlete or astronaut or maybe even blimp operator, but I certainly didn't say politician. But maybe that's what people want to be, and that's okay. But for me, it's not a career field. If you're running for office, it's because you care and you have to serve. And if anybody here thinks me running for governor is somehow a pay raise or a promotion or a job that I want, that is not true. I don't want to do this. I don't want to run for governor. I have to run for governor. I have to. Because that's the only way I feel like I can fight. And for 3 years, after fighting multiple lobbies, after going to war behind closed door, after being called names, I have to sit here and rationalize why it's personal for me, because I promise every single one of you it's personal for you. Or you wouldn't be here listening to me on a Thursday night. Tomorrow's Friday. It's already the weekend for federal employees. I'm just kidding, by the way, if there's any federal employees. That was a joke. I love you all. So, taxes, regulation, regulatory agencies that fund themselves with fines, lobbyists who pay legislators to give them favorable standing, picking winners and losers. This happens. I've been there. I've seen it. This isn't a joke. This isn't something we make up. If you run a company, or if you sign both sides of the paycheck, you understand what I'm saying. And if you're out there paying taxes right now, working your butt off, and you wonder how in the world you're paying these personal property taxes and these taxes that are so high, and for some reason they need more from you, there's got to be a time when you stand up and say that's enough, and that's why I'm here tonight. It's enough. It's enough for me. Probably not the type of political speech you were used to. Because I can sit here and say, hey, I'm for school choice. How about we fix the public education system first? How about we look at spending, how to control spending? What if we did a forensic audit on every single state agency that we have right now? Has anybody here been through a forensic audit? That's fun. This is not the most exciting thing. I've been through them. I would almost rather, well, I'm not going to say that, that's an awful thing to say, but I would almost rather be attacked by wild wolves covered in peanut butter than go through another forensic audit. But that's what we need to do to Virginia. That's why I'm here tonight. I'm running for governor because I am not owed. I'm not owned. There's nobody here. There's no lobbyist who had their hand in my pocket. But I promise you this. All of you are walking around right now with every legislator and everything you can imagine as far as regulatory reform and taxes. They have their hands in your pocket. And it's time for them to be out. So I'm running for governor. So I have to do this. Support me for governor. Heck, if you want to go online, www.denverforgovernor.com, check out my issues page. Please. It's something I think we could do together. Also, if there's petitions around, sign it. I want to be on this ballot. Because like I said, I don't want to run. I have to run. That's why I appreciate all of you guys being here tonight. Thank you so much for coming. I don't know if I have questions.
Yes, we will have.
But I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much.